Hello, this is Debbie from HomeStrung Jewelry. We're here to do our projects for the collaboration that we have with Gina from Orchid and Opal. Part of this collaboration is to show you the inspiration that was behind our Gemstone Orphanage box, the best winter wonderland box ever, and the inspiration behind this design set. So here's the picture that I was using when I was putting this box together that reminds me of what I think is some of the best parts of winter. It's the beautiful, unbroken, pure snow, the lovely evergreen trees, that fresh, crisp air that you smell when you walk out into it. And the box was centered around these colors, and I'm incorporating some of this feeling and color into the designs that we'll be doing today. Steve has agreed to be my guinea pig today.
It was not without some intrepidation and some force on Debbie's part.
I thought I would walk him through how we make up this project, the necklace and the earrings. I figure if he can do it, anybody can do it.
Gee, thanks. No, I've only just barely looked at this design. I've had my own projects I'm working on. Debbie showed it to me and then promptly took it apart, and she says, now you're going to make it. And so I guess that's what we're going to do today. This is Debbie's design, and I'm going to put it together, probably totally mess it up, but that's okay.
I think we'll start by introducing you to the star of this design, which is the orphan gemstone that comes in each of your boxes.
I thought I was the star.
Oh, well.
Okay, we got a teardrop here. White agate, matte finish. It's a little bit warm tones on this one. And its name is, this is Fuyuko, which means winter child.
In Japanese, that means winter child.
Okay, pretty stone. They're all pretty stones. Anyway, that's a pretty stone, and that'll be the pendant we're working with today. And pretty much all of the materials here, with a couple of exceptions, I believe the chain and maybe one of the jump rings came from the box. So everything here came from the box.
The chain and the jump ring were not in the box.
Yeah, everything else. Was the beading wire in the box?
No. But we're only talking about the pendant for right now. We're gonna do this project in 3 short scenarios. We're gonna teach you how to do the pendant. Then we'll show you how to string the necklace, which is fairly straightforward. And then we'll do the earrings. So
what do we do first, Debbie?
We're gonna introduce all of the materials that you're gonna need to do this type of a pendant. Of course, you're gonna need your pendant bead. You're gonna need a bell to go through that bead in order to attach it to the necklace. You're going to need a 6mm jump ring.
Which is?
Right there.
That's a 6, yeah.
That's a 6.
Okay, that's a 6mm jump ring.
You're going to need 4 inches of a chain that has fairly small links. I'd say these links were probably in the neighborhood of 1 by 3mm.
On the inside.
That's
probably 2 by
inside
4
diameter.
on the outside.
And just 4 inches of that. And then you're going to need 5 head pins and 5 of the topaz beads, those little 3mm faceted beads that were in your box.
Okay, so what do we do first, Debbie?
All right, step 1 is you're going to put one of the topaz beads onto a head pin and make a small wrapped loop at the top of the bead. You're going to do that for all 5 of your...
Yeah, and you put the trick topaz beads in here that don't have a hole. There we go. Okay, so we just want to do a wrapped loop.
Going to do a wrap loop.
And we're going to do it the right way, not your way. Okay, so everyone knows how to do this. Hold it up tight, fold it over the round nose pliers, bring the pliers up to the corner, and wrap down. So we get this hairpin type look. Reposition the pliers and bring them the rest of the way around. And then I usually like to grab them with my chain nose pliers, which are here somewhere. We'll just grab the loop and we'll get a couple of wraps on here and try to stay on camera at the same time. Yeah. It's my turn to get pushed on camera.
He's better at staying on camera than I am, so we thought we'd give this technique a try.
Okay, so there's the first one, and you throw that piece of wire wherever you want. And then I usually just pinch in.
Yeah, tuck the end
a little bit. And we just need to do this 4 more times, right?
Right, all 5 of the topaz beads.
So I'm going to do a quick one here, and then we'll scan ahead to where all 5 of them are in there. And I swear there's no holes in these. There we go. 5 dangles, topaz dangles.
Okay, once you have those done, we're ready to move on to the next step, which is to take that 4-inch piece of chain, and you're going to take 1 1/4 inches off of one end of the chain.
Okay, so 1 1/4 inches.
And this is approximately. I mean, if you're a link counter, go ahead and count the links, but
I'm not. And Debbie likes to treat the links like they're jump rings and open them. Me, I'm messy in a hurry. I'm going to just cut the link. Maybe.
So you should have a 1 1/4 inch piece of chain and another piece of chain that's roughly 2 3/4 inches long. Now the one that's 2 3/4 inches long, you want to divide it in half. You want to find the middle link, or the link as close to the middle as possible. Again, if you're a link or 2 off, you're fine.
A link or 2? Wow. Okay. Anyway, I've got the middle link there, but we won't need that for a second, will we? Okay. What next?
Now you're going to open your 6mm jump ring.
All right. So I like to use flat nose pliers for this. Debbie borrowed one of my pair that I haven't seen now in weeks, so I'm going to use these others. And what we're going to do is just open them, close them till you hear that little click, or feel the little click. Then I'm going to open them up. So there we got it.
Okay, so hang on to that jump ring with your pliers.
Both hands.
Add one of your topaz beads. Just put the loop from your wrap loop right up into the jump ring.
Easier said than done. There we go.
Now add the end link on your 1 1/4 inch piece of chain.
Okay, so we've got 1 dangle and a chain, the short chain.
Now you want to add another topaz bead. You want to add that middle link from the 2 3/4 inch piece of chain, or just a good close estimate of the middle link.
I swear the jump ring wire is bigger than the link. Okay, so we got the double wire, and I don't have it quite right. That's close enough, you said.
Yep. And then 1 more of the topaz beads. It's getting crowded on that jump ring, but you can close the jump ring now. You want to make sure you got a good closure on it too, so that none of those beads or the chain will slip through the slot on the jump ring.
Oh. Whoa! Big click, big slip. These are slippery jump rings. Okay, check it from the top, check it from the side. That's pretty tight. Okay. Now what?
So now you want to add your last 2 topaz beads, and here you have a couple of options. You can put them like right at the very top into the top links of the chains, or you could stagger them a little bit up and down the chains. You're going to have to use kind of a design preference of what you like.
So, and we're just going to treat these, the links, like jump rings.
Yeah, these links do open and close. So when I decide what link I want to put the bead into, I just open the link on the chain, add the bead, and close the link.
Now we have to find the cut first. right, so we'll stick one there. All my chain mailing friends are probably screaming right now, "You're doing it wrong." And we'll go down about 3. And see if we can find the break in the link.
One tip when you're doing this is have a pretty good grip on your pliers, because otherwise these links, jump rings, things, they do tend to want to slip out of the pliers and can create a lot of frustration.
Oh, I'm frustrated now. Okay, check and make sure those are together. All right.
Okay, so grab hold of that 6mm jump ring, check and make sure that the beads are staggered or laying pretty much the way you want them to.
They flip back and forth, so make sure we've got a dangle on each side. Okay.
Because if you want to make adjustments, it's easier to do it now.
What about the chain lengths?
Those we can do after we put it on the pendant, because I like to see how it's laying on the pendant. So
okay, and we get it into focus there.
Okay, now this next part's actually pretty easy. You're going to hook that 6mm jump ring onto one of the prongs in your pinch bell.
Now we know why she brought me in.
It's hard not to reach in and take over and do it, but I know you can do this.
Gee, thanks, Debbie.
Give you some good encouraging words here.
We're gonna do this again with Debbie as the guinea pig. Okay, I've got it in there, and we need to pinch.
Yeah, pinch that as tight as you can, right up into your pendant. Now look at that. Isn't that
oh my
pretty?
gosh, I've got it backwards. No, it's fine.
All right, so look at the way that this is all laying on your Gemstone Orphan. Now you need to decide if you want to stagger and change the lengths of the 3 chains that hang down.
Well, yes, I want to stagger them.
Well, you decide by how much. When I made this model up the first time, I removed some links off the bottom of the 2 longest ones. I did 3 links off of one and 5 links off the other.
Well,
but you can do what you want, what you feel looks good.
Well, I'd say I like it the way it is, but I'm going to, and I'm just going to cut. And let's take about 4 off of this side. Whoa.
Okay. This is the hardest part of this design, was getting this pendant
I think I'm going to take
ready.
one more off. Well, that's the long link. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
No, actually I'm going to take this one off. Wires just flying everywhere.
That looks pretty good to me.
Dangerous place. Okay, we'll give this an extra pinch. Make sure it's in. And that's kind of cool. I've never seen anyone use a jump ring on a pinch bell before like that.
That should work
That
just
thing's
fine.
on. I'm going to have to steal that idea.
Okay. So like I said, this was probably the hardest part of the necklace. We're going to move on to the second part, which is just stringing the necklace itself.
Okay, I'm assuming we're going to keep the pendant and string it on as well.
We are. So we're going to get set up with the materials and show you what you'll need to make the rest of the necklace.
Okay, we're back. May not be ready, but we're back.
Before we get started, I wanted to mention that we really are excited to be doing a collaboration with Gina from Orchid and Opal. Gina was the person that helped us get started with our subscription program. She is a very delightful and giving type person, and
very talented.
When she agreed to do this collaboration with us, I was really excited. I want to see what she came up with as far as the design from this box goes. So this has been a lot of fun for Steve and me to be able to do this with her.
Up until this point, it's been fun for me.
Well, now we're going to start with just making the necklace, which is a basic stringing. The ends are crimped. There are a couple of tips that we'll tell you about as we get closer to where they're used in the necklace and stringing order, but we'll go over what the materials are so you make sure you've got everything on hand. You're going to need 24 inches of beading wire.
That's right there.
That one was not in the box. You're going to need 2 crimp sets. Crimp set for me is a 2x2 crimp tube, a 3x4 crimp cover, and a wire guard. And then you're going to need the 14 of your rock crystal spears, your icicles that was from the box. And you're going to divide those into 2 sets, trying to match as close as possible. I went and laid them all out from shortest to longest, and then just alternated taking one off down until I had 2 sets that were roughly the same.
Yes, I'm going to wing it.
We're going to see how Steve does it. If you don't want to go longest to shortest, you can make it totally random. But either way, you're going to need 2 sets of 7 icicles each. You're going to need 14 of the opalite faceted 8mm rounds and 24 of the opalite faceted 6mm rounds. You're going to need approximately 53 spacer beads. Again, I'm using a 3mm metal. This was not in this box. There's been 3mm metal beads in previous boxes, but if you don't have any on hand, you can use size 8 seed beads in place of these metal spacers, or you could even use a crystal. After I had made this design up, I was thinking that the 3mm crystal AB bicones would have been a beautiful substitution. Yep. In this design.
But everybody's got 3mm metal rounds probably.
You're going to need 28 of the bead caps that were in the box, a lobster clasp from the box, a 2.5-inch piece of extension chain. It was not in the box. I just took 2.5 inches off of one of my chains that has a big enough link to take the lobster clasp.
This has to be big enough for the lobster clasp. This is a mother-child.
And then a head pin and one more of the 3mm faceted topaz round beads. And if you have all of these ready, we can get started.
One tool here is we've got a little bead bug or a stopper just to hold the end. I sometimes just use a piece of tape and wrap it around the end to keep the beads from sliding off. So we've got one of these. 2 would probably be even better for this project, but we're going to tough it out with just 1.
All right, first tip. A lot of times, if I know what my design is going to consist of and what the beading order is, I will go ahead and crimp one end of the stringing wire and then string my necklace. In this case, there's a couple reasons why I wouldn't recommend doing that. So we're going to start stringing this from the center out, basically from your pendant. We'll go up one side at least on the icicles, then we're going to move over and do the second side on the icicles. Reason for this is you don't want to get all the way around and then find out that you have to go back and undo certain things. Also helps in sizing the necklace. Yep. So if you're not going to divide your icicles in half, let's go ahead and get started. Open up your beading wire. Place your bead stopper.
The hardest part. Oh. It's going to go wow. We need to have a course on unweaving beading wire. There we go.
And then just attach the bead stopper about 6, 7, 8 inches from one of the ends. That's just to stop beads from falling off.
Thus the name, bead stopper.
Okay, so starting in what will be the middle of the necklace, you're going to place 3 of your 3mm spacer beads.
Onto the wire.
Preferably.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold all three of them at once. It's like other skills like cracking an egg with one hand or putting in the nail with one hit of the hammer.
Well, this is interesting because Steve usually does wire wrapping, but I think it's good to have him outside of his comfort zone doing just a basic stringing project.
It's stringing. This is colored macaroni on a string. I think I can handle this. All right, we're going to add the
pendant bead. It fits over these 3 beads. So
yeah, I technically could put this on from the other end.
Yes, you could. You could if the pendant bead is getting in the way. But I liked to have it on there. Again, like I said, I kind of graduated my icicles when I did this the first time.
Well, I graduated a long time ago. So what next?
Okay, you're going to add one of the 8mm faceted beads.
These, you can see the holes really good. What next?
The picture.
Okay, so what do we got? Another 3?
Another 3mm, yeah, we're using metal rounds, but if you're using a size 8 seed bead or a little 3mm bicone, that works too. So put your spacer bead on.
Okie doke.
Then you want a bead cap and you want to turn it so that it will face, the inside cup will be facing your icicle.
So facing away.
Right. Going to pick up one of the icicle beads.
A long one or a short one?
Hey, you're the one that decided you didn't want to
I
make
thought
2 groups.
We're going to start with the big ones.
Yeah, like I said, I put 2 groups together.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 2 that are long, and I will set one aside for the next set, and we'll stick one on here. And
okay, now you're going to add a bead cap to the other side of the icicle.
Really? No beads or anything?
Not yet. You want the bead caps fit right up against the icicles.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now a spacer bead.
Wow, that went on too easy.
Okay, now you're going to repeat bead cap, icicle, bead cap, spacer bead for 7 of your icicles.
This is pretty complicated. Again, I'm going to grab 2. I'll stick one up here for the next set.
While he's working on getting those on, I will give you another tip.
Well, I'm going to check them as I go so that they all look
I was going to say, the way these icicles are drilled, sometimes the way they string onto the wire will make them slant one direction or the other more than you want it to. At first I thought I wasn't going to be able to use the icicle because of that, but then I turned and just flipped the icicle 180 degrees, strung it on from the other direction, and surprisingly that seemed to take care of the problem. So I recommend stringing on about 3 icicles, holding the necklace up to see how those icicles lay, and if they're laying fairly straight and not leaning too much towards each other, then just keep going. If you have an icicle that wants to lean...
See, there's a leaner.
If you got a leaner...
Well, actually, no, it's not.
Yeah. No, those look good. You'll know it. If you've got a leaner, you'll know it, and I would say try just turning it and coming in from the other side, and that might fix the problem.
Okay, so we're going to put 7 on this side.
We're going to put 7 on each side. Well, we're going to do one side at a time, so 7 on this side. Just double check and make sure that you're turning your bead caps correctly. Otherwise, it won't look right, and that you're not skipping any of the bead caps. And while Steve is putting these on, I thought I might share one of my favorite winter type memories, which is with the icicles. I lived up northern Utah. Northern Utah. Well, here in southern Utah, we call it north.
If you're in Miami, that's the panhandle.
No, I grew up in northern Utah where we did have a lot of snow and ice. And I would love to walk out on a morning and see the icicles that were hanging down from the roof. And they could get really thick and big, some of them. Others would be really small and delicate. Here's a picture I found that reminds me very much of what the icicles looked like as they were hanging from our roof. My brother and I would take an old broom handle or something and knock the icicles off. And then we'd go pick one up, and it was just kind of a dare each other to see if we could lick or melt the ends of the icicles in our mouths. I'm shocked we didn't ever get sick from it, but
it was like a poor kid's low-calorie popsicle.
There you go. But I do. I remember doing that as a kid.
I don't think that was necessarily good hydration.
No, but winter was always a fun time. We'd go out and make snow forts and have snowball fights. Then we'd get so cold that it was really neat to come into the house and it would be nice and warm, and my mom would make hot chocolate.
Yes,
and have hot soup for us.
I know your mother, she probably didn't let you in the house until you were all completely dried off.
Well, she wasn't. She let us in. She didn't want us out there freezing.
As long as you didn't drip on the floor.
If we did, we had to clean it up.
That's right. No hot chocolate for you, Debbie.
Well, what about you, Steve? What were your winters like?
I was born in Colorado and then lived in northern Utah. So I've always liked the snow, the cold weather. I'm not like you.
I liked it as a kid. I'm not too fond of it as an adult.
No, I've always liked the cold weather.
However, I love the pictures. I love the way...
Everyone likes the pictures.
Well, no, but when it's snowing and you can see the snow building up on every twig on a tree, even the smallest one, it's like it just outlines every single little branch and twig on a tree. I think that's just beautiful. Okay, you've got a leaner.
Which one? Oh, the
second
one right
one from
before.
the end.
I'm sorry. I just...
So try flipping that one around and see if that fixes it.
I know it doesn't lean when I look at it. Okay. The test of a true professional designer is being willing to take it apart.
That's why I don't recommend doing more than about 3 icicles without.
What about that other leaner?
Oh, now it's leaning too much the other way.
Oh, gosh. Okay, here's a good example of what we talked about with the leaning. Here's one where it's obviously leaning way out. And if I just go in and flip it around, and you can see the difference there. Much straighter. So just need to get the last one on. And this isn't even the hard part. It's probably also a good idea to watch while you're going to make sure you've got all the components in.
Yeah, it's so much easier to kind of check every few beads to make sure that when you're got this many components going into the beading order, just to make sure that you haven't missed a bead cap, a spacer bead, that sort of thing.
Okay, we got 7 beads here, Debbie. Do we just cap this?
Okay, put a bead cap on and a spacer bead. Then it gets even easier.
my type of a project here. Okay.
Now you're going to put on 6 of your 8mm opalites separated with a spacer bead.
Okay, so 6 opalites with spacers. Big opalites.
These are really pretty though.
Well,
I said if the light catches them just right, you can see that opal, the opalescence down inside the bead. It just makes them glow.
And 6. Spacer.
Spacer bead, and then 12 of the 6mm opalites separated by a spacer bead.
So little opalites.
If any of you decide to make this necklace up and it's intended as a gift for someone, I'd write down one of these winter memories that you have and include it with the necklace. When you give it as a gift, it makes the necklace have more personality and more meaning to the person who receives it. It's where our stories and naming our orphans and that comes from. It's just a way to create more personality and meaning to the stones, and in this case to a piece of jewelry. Everybody loves a story. Almost everybody.
What are you implying?
And you're one of the best storytellers.
You're saying I'm not truthful.
No, I'm saying you tell a good story.
So there's 12?
12 of the 6mm.
I know I've put at least 50.
But do not put a spacer bead on the end. End with a 6mm opalite. Because your crimp cover's going to take the place of the spacer bead.
So there's 3, 6, 9, 12. So this one's done?
Yeah, and again, here's a tip for sizing the necklace. If you don't want to spend a lot of time having to take everything off, don't do your ends yet. Go ahead and put your bead stopper now over on the side that you've strung, and let's string the other side of the necklace. Then you'll be able to check it for size, and if you have to take any beads off, you'll be able to take the same number off of each side without having to unstring the entire necklace.
Now I'm assuming I'm going to do the same thing over here on the other side.
You are going to duplicate what you did on the one side on the other side.
Okay. We can probably hurry through this. Okay, all strung.
Now we just need to finish it off, and you do it with a basic set of crimping sets on each end, and then we're going to attach an extension chain and put a little dangle on it. So just very quickly, to do a crimp set, you put the crimp tube on to your beading wire. You're going to put a wire guard on. By going up through one leg of the wire guard, around the top, and back through the other leg. Now before we run it back, the wire end back through the crimp bead, we're going to add our lobster clasp up into the wire guard.
Okay, so no jump rings or anything, just...
Nope, this is a lot more secure because there isn't anything that can come open if the necklace is accidentally pulled on. So you put the lobster clasp right up into the wire guard. Run the end of your wire now back through the crimp bead.
I actually haven't done this in a while.
Wire wrapping has spoiled you.
Well, wire wrapping, knotting, chainmail, memory wire.
Okay, now run that wire end probably down through at least 2 of the 6mm opalite rounds, and If you want, you can run it through more than that. And then you want to pull everything down nice and tight and snug so that there's no gaps in your wire or between your beads.
Okay, well, I usually just hold on to the clasp and just pull it tight.
Make sure you've got enough wire on the other end to finish it off.
I think we've got plenty
Okay.
there. And technically, this isn't as important over here because we can pull it tight at the other end. All right.
Take your crimping pliers and show them how to crimp the tube.
Oh my gosh, I don't even have a pair of crimping pliers. These are yours. All right, so we start up here with the top. We just squish that a little bit. Then we take it down here and we make a taco, right?
Right. We're going to make a little bit of an assumption here and assume that the majority of you probably know how to crimp. So you're just going through a standard crimping process here. If enough of you don't feel comfortable crimping and would like us to do a tutorial on how to crimp, just let us know in the comments and we'll work something out.
As long as it's not me. Because I'm struggling here. I got pieces of metal flying all over the place. There we go. And I usually just give it a little pinch just to make sure it's tight. Then I'm assuming we're going to put a
crimp cover on there, because then that'll look like one of your spacer beads.
I guess this is the first crimp I've done in like years. Okay, I usually like to use my chain nose to do this. I usually pull it up from the top because then it has no place to go. And just close that down over the crimp.
You can use your chain nose pliers to gently close and squeeze the crimp cover until the goal is to hide that seam line as much as you possibly can.
Which I used to be really good at this. I'm really messing this up today. Well, we won't show the seam side. There it is. Perfect crimp. Okay, I'm assuming we're going to do something similar on the other side.
Yep, you can trim your wire tail there if you want.
Nah, I kind of like it down there. I think everybody's going to be wearing their tails down. But since you're here, and you'd probably tell me about it, we'll trim that and make sure you cut just the tail and
not your beading wire.
Not the beading wire, or you get practice. Do this all again. That's a little loose, but we'll tighten it up from this other end.
Okay, that's what you want to do. You're going to want to make sure now that you've removed any gaps and that your beads are not too loose. At the same time, you don't want it too tight because then that puckers the wire. So
we don't want to pucker. Now, are we just going to do the extension chain on this side?
Yes. However, because the extension chain has open links, you can actually add that to the top of the wire guard after you've done all your crimping.
Yeah, I'd just soon get it in there. Oh, I think I'm going through 2 links.
I don't know if the small link will go up in there.
We're going to find out. Nope. It's not going to go up well. If all else fails, you force it, right?
Or use a jump
There it
ring.
goes. Small link went through.
Oh, okay.
Okay, one thing I like to do is push my wire guard, the two legs on the wire guard together a little bit. And then back through the crimp tube. Through a few beads. And again, sometimes it helps to...
If the wire won't pull through very easily, you can grab it with your pliers. You can also make sure that your crimp tube isn't too snug against the bead. You move it up a little closer to the wire guard.
I put a fingernail or a thumbnail there.
Okay.
So,
and now check your entire length a little bit here to make sure you don't have any gaps or anything.
Well,
because once you crimp this second side, you're committed.
Well, I was...
And if there's something wrong, it's like starting over.
Yeah, we don't want to start over. I need to give it a little pinch. You don't want to squeeze it too hard because you can crack the crimp. And if you got a cracked crimp, which is just fun to say, you know, it will break and fall off at some point. I'm sure Debbie would remind me that I'm the one that put this one together, that I cracked the crimp. I'm the crimp cracker. Okay, again. These things are really slippery, and so I found that if I come in from the gap here, from the Pac-Man mouth, and hold it from the back, and grab that, and then squeeze it together. And we just work it a little bit. Close the gap. That one looks better. Trim the wire. Try not to cut my microphone cord. And I'm not using my flush cutters for this. I'm using my general cutters.
Okay, and then the last step is
there's more?
We're going to put a little dangle down on the end of the extension chain. You're going to put one of your topaz 3mm faceted rounds on that head pin. Excuse me. And wire wrap it into the end link of that extension chain.
I'm going to need round nose pliers. So grab it, fold it, bring it up to the mountain, over the top, reposition, bring it around, and I know Debbie likes to open and close these things like a jump ring, but I think it weakens it.
Not the tiny links.
The tiny links.
Yeah, you're going into the tiny links, so it's better to do it the way you're doing it.
So just pull that tight. I've got so many pliers. This is a really tool heavy project, and we'll do a couple of wraps here.
Yeah. And when we do the earrings, we're going to use memory wire pliers.
Or cutters anyway.
Cutters, yeah.
All right, there's our dangle, and we'll trim that off. Pliers are getting sticky. that down or mash that down. And there's our little dangle.
And the necklace is complete.
That's right.
Ready to be worn.
Now, what if I wanted to shorten it?
You should have done that before you crimped it.
Oh, now you tell me. Okay, necklace is done. And I bet you want me to do the earrings next.
You bet. They're not too hard.
Okay. Move the necklace over to the side, the bead bugs. And we're going to be using memory wire. And I've got the materials here for just one of the earrings, I believe. So what have we got here, Debbie?
You're going to need 1 loop of your bracelet size memory wire.
That's for 2 earrings, right?
For 2 earrings, you're going to cut that loop in half. Next, you want to take 6 of your icicles. You need 3 for each earring.
So we're going to do 3 for the earring here.
In this case, I was actually looking for icicles that would cause a little bit of leaning because I wanted them to splay out from each other a little bit.
Well, these look like splayers.
So other materials you're going to need are 4 of the spacer beads, those 3mm rounds. You're going to need 2 of the faceted opalite hearts that were in the box.
That's for each one. So I've got 1 here to do this 1 earring.
Right. You're going to need 3 links from the chain that you used on the pendant.
So a 3-length piece of chain.
So a 3-link piece of chain.
Okay, I got 1 right there.
You're going to need a head pin, a 6mm jump ring,
I think that's it right there.
a 4mm jump ring,
That's right there.
and your ear wire.
We're using a post
We're using the snowflake post from the box.
because it was in the box. Okay, so I got to wrap this heart.
Right.
Make a dangle.
Yeah, you're just going to put it on the head pin, make a small loop at the top of the heart. Attach that loop into the end link of your 3-link chain. You can either do that by opening the end link or you can wire wrap it right into the end link.
Okay. So we pull it in there. Like I said, I like to work from the side here. Then we'll pull it into the chain. And we'll make a couple of wrapped loops. This is neat because you can kind of move the bead as you go. I'm going to use the flush cutters on this one because they're a little more pointed. Okay. There's our dangle. Okay, so we've got the dangle. Now we need to cut the wire, right? And so each one of these is going to be right around 3/4.
Just shy of 3/4, but definitely a little over half.
Yeah, so and then we'll just measure this for the second one. Try not to hack off a finger.
Okay, and then now what you want to do is you want to make a wrap loop on the end of one of those wires. Make it as small as you can.
This one's just a little longer. So we're going to make an inside loop.
An inside loop right on the very end. Turn it, make sure you turn it fully so that it almost touches the wire.
Might have to reposition it once or twice. Okay, that's touching.
And you add a spacer bead.
I have to take my glasses off to do this.
You add your 3 icicles, and you have a choice. You can either make them so they lay next to each other or they fan out. I preferred the fan out look.
Oh, that one's not fanning. Whoa. Let's play with it a little bit. Some of your beads don't want to fan. And fan?
Yeah, that looks fanned enough.
Then spacer bead.
Spacer bead. And then another loop on that other end. Try to match the size of the first loop so they look equal.
Or close.
As close as you can.
For those people who look closely at your ears and earrings. Which is mostly other beaders, right? Okay.
All right.
Those are touching, so...
Take your 6mm jump ring, run it through one of the loops, probably from the back side. Add your heart.
My heart on a chain.
That's right. Run it through the other loop from the front side, so it's kind of forming a circle, and close your jump ring.
Oh, it wants to spring out like a lot. Push that in. Okay, check it from the top, check it from the side. Okay,
now the jump ring lays somewhat horizontal. Might angle a tiny bit. Make sure the heart is on what we call the front side. Then you're going to use the 4mm jump ring on the back side of that 6mm jump ring to attach your ear wire.
Okay, in which this case it's a post. I prep this thing. Oh, it's touching. So
put it on the back side between the two loops, and then add your post, making sure that your post will be in the correct direction.
The correct direction?
First time I tried this, I had my post backwards, so.
I think I'll go in through the back and we'll see if that does it. If not, I don't mind fixing it. I got it right the first time.
There you go. And that's the earrings.
And so you just completely repeat this. Agonizing. And we've got a little internet post holder. What do you call these? Butterflies?
Butterfly nuts.
That's what butterflies eat. Then you just repeat that.
For the other earring.
And here's the other earring. Okay.
So there is our version of the Winter Wonderland necklace and earring set.
Which is not going to lay down for me.
Oh, before I forget, the necklace that we just made, that Steve just made, we've decided that we are going to auction it off on Saturday when we do our live auction. It'll be at the end of the auction, and somebody who is interested in owning that necklace and Fiyuko can come in and bid on it and become the proud parent of another gemstone orphan. The proceeds from auctioning this necklace off are going to go to our children's charity. So we will see you on Saturday.
Right, and also down in the comment or down in the description, there is a link. We still have a few subscriptions left, not very many, but we still have a few available if you'd like to go ahead and reserve a subscription, at which point we will go ahead and fill out the paperwork and get you all reserved. In the meantime, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit the like button. We would appreciate it if you would also hit the subscribe, ring the bell, and that way you'll be notified of any future videos that we do. Hopefully there'll be ones where I've designed it and put it together, or Debbie has designed it and put it together, so that we don't have these embarrassing things going on, dropping things, not knowing what we're doing.
And as we mentioned, Gina's been doing a tutorial from this box also. I believe the links will be in the description to get to her YouTube channel. So we highly recommend you go see what she was able to create from our box.
All right, thanks for coming.
We will see you later. Bye-bye.